This is Boris. You have landed in Pakistan?
Yep, amazing. That Sunny is really something.
She is genius. I've not seen her for quite some time. She is well?
Pretty good. A lot, sunnier than she used to be for sure. Like day and night from when I first met her.
That was a difficult time, yes? But I'm glad she's better now.
It's a good thing I got to her when I did. I used to not like thinking about all the stuff that was going on then. But now I kinda miss those days.
Sadness is not like the ocean. Someday, you can drink it all up. It's a Russian saying. People, they always try to beautify the past as a way to cope, yes? But I know it was not easy for you. I'm sorry for all the trouble.
Nah, I wouldn't have gotten her out without your help. Pretty wild to think that was my first job with you, huh?
Duh. Certainly I was not expecting to work with you for so long.
I remember how surprised I was hearing about you starting Maverick.
Well, I could not just abandon the PLA. Really, I think I was more surprised you decided to join us.
Yeah. Well, you caught me at the right time. I didn't exactly know what to do with myself. You know, Boris, I think Sundowner was right in a way. Killing the Patriots wasn't enough to end war. It didn't create this big, happy utopia. But you know what? Seeing Sonny doing so well makes me damn happy the Patriots are gone.
Yes, I can imagine. You saved many lives.
But now here we are, all over again, huh?
Indeed. My apologies for putting you through all this.
I knew what I was in for. Riding out.
This is Boris. You have landed in Pakistan?
Yep, amazing. That Sunny is really something.
She is genius. I've not seen her for quite some time.
Pretty, like, it's a place.
People, but...
Nah, pretty... I remember...
Well, real...
Yeah, you know, killing, but you...
Yeah.
But now, I...
Right. Our enemy has multiple options for striking the president in Pakistan. At the base after landing, while in transit within the country, during the meeting. But if Sundowner's right, they're gonna strike within 3 hours after you killed him.
Which means they're either gonna attack Air Force One, or they'll wait until he lands.
I kinda doubt there are any Pakistanis on board Air Force One, though. It's not like in the movies. They never let foreign press on the flight. They could try to shoot it down from afar, I guess. But anything the Pakistan Air Force could deploy would show up on US radar instantly.
Which means their best bet at kickstarting another war on terror would be post-landing.
They're probably set up for the assassination over at the base. You better get moving.
So the president's visit to Pakistan, it's meant to build government ties, right?
Right. You probably know this, but there's a region on their northwest border called FATA. Stands for Federally Administered Tribal Areas. The central government is... well, let's just say they're not entirely in control of that part of the country.
Right. It served as the base for all kinds of armed groups over the years.
Uh-huh. The US started staging cross-border raids there at the turn of the century, chasing after combatants that fled out of Afghanistan. The Pakistan army has tried to work with the US to confront them from both sides. But that only escalated anti-American sentiment within the FATA. You can only get away with so many botched civilian strikes, after all.
I thought that post-SOP, the US, pretty much pulled out of Afghanistan. You know, after all that anti-war economy stuff broke out.
They did. That put an end to the FATA strikes, but definitely not the anti-American groups. Now their anger's channeled towards the pro-US central government instead.
Wouldn't this visit just enrage the FATA groups even more, though? I know President Salam's pretty much on the American side.
Yeah, but Salam doesn't care. He's got no interest in dealing with them. He wants to get the FATA back under control, and I guess he wants America's help doing it.
And how do his people feel about that?
It's pretty much 50-50. A lot of people hate the US, for sure. But a lot of others have been directly affected by the anti-government suicide bombings, too. There's definitely some deep-seated support for helping the US, but only if it means ending the violence once and for all.
Sounds like we could see civil war here any moment. What about their intelligence bureau, the ISI? How do they feel about all this?
They haven't commented, publicly.
People are always saying how much bad blood there is between the ISI and the civilian government.
Oh yeah, there are stories all the time about their involvement with insurgents or terror groups. Depending on how the ISI acts, things over there could change pretty damn quickly.
No wonder Armstrong chose this place. It's like one big powder keg.
Hey, Raiden? You know, Sam, he looked almost happy.
Yeah, crazy bastard. He put everything he had into that fight. Wanted to kill me so bad. But once he saw how the fight would turn out, it was like the thought made him smile.
Of course, I guess if he didn't mess with you in Denver, you wouldn't have... Well, you know.
Monsoon would have killed me. I would have never lived to fight Sam.
So why'd he do it? Did he think he'd break you for good?
Who knows? Maybe waking me up was his plan all along.
Yeah, I don't know. But there was definitely something going on. He had plans for you. Guess now we'll never know.
Yeah, he's gone. But I'm not. And there's still work to do. What do you think President Hamilton's trying to accomplish with this visit? He had to realize it'll rile up Pakistan's anti-government groups.
Hard to say. He could be trying to rebuild America's image with the Pakistani people. You know, pledging financial support and all that.
But is President Salam looking for military support? I kind of doubt most Americans would be willing to fund more of that kind of effort. There's a lot of strong sentiment against the war economy, especially now that the Patriot censorship is dead and gone. Besides, the recession's got a lot of people looking to cut the military's budget.
True, but nobody wants to be soft on terror. I mean, one incident's all it takes to make the pendulum swing the other way.
One incident? Just like what Armstrong's got in mind.
Another possibility is that Hamilton's visiting just to test the waters. You know, see how the American and Pakistani people respond. Hamilton is a pragmatic guy, to put it nicely. To put it not so nicely, he'd strip naked and dance on his desk in the Oval Office if he thought it would boost his poll numbers.
Armstrong used to play football?
Apparently. Quarterback for the University of Texas, so he must have been pretty good, too.
So the star quarterback turns big-time politician, huh? Guess he'd have no problem dodging shoes from angry protesters.
Well, it shows he's always been a leader, one way or another.
He's obviously not some dumb jock, or this would be a lot easier.
Yeah. Too bad he didn't go pro, right? We wouldn't even be having this conversation.
They would have chewed him up and spit him out. He looks strong for a politician, but nothing too serious. Definitely no wind of destruction.
Well, sure. He's not exactly a seasoned fighter, either. Didn't see any action with the Navy, and you know he can't be a cyborg. A public figure couldn't hide that for long, not with current tech.
Yeah, he may be an asshole, but he shouldn't be much of a threat.
Well, he wouldn't be in Pakistan, in any case. I'm sure it's all being run by underlings and cronies. No trail to lead back to him.
Too bad. I was looking forward to killing him with my own two hands.
We can't go around killing civilians just for being evil, Raiden. We're not even at war here. Just stop the assassination attempt, Raiden. One thing I've been thinking? Sam and the rest of the Winds were all in the U.S. Maybe they didn't expect any major resistance over there. Or maybe they left security up to someone else.
Maybe so. If it's a cyborg, I hope his insurance is paid off. You know all the rules of football, Kev?
Huh? Well, enough to watch it at least. Why?
Just curious. I can never keep track of everything going on. All those rules.
It's not that complicated, Raiden. You never watched it? Actually, you ever watched any sport?
What can I say? I'm a man of culture, Kev. Give me a good movie over some dumb game any day.
Culture? Oh, the sensitive artsy cyborg type, right?
Right. Anyway, basketball's more my speed. Get the ball, put it in the net, 2 points.
Oh, yeah, because that's all there is to basketball. I swear, you crack me up sometimes, man.
So the president's visit to Pakistan, it's meant to build government ties, right?
Right. You probably know this, but there's a region on their northwest border called FATA. Stands for Federally Administered Tribal Areas. The central government is, well, let's just say they're not entirely in control of that part of the country.
Right. It served as the base for all kinds of armed groups over the years.
Uh-huh. The U.S. started staging cross-border raids there at the turn of the century, chasing after combatants that fled out of Afghanistan. The Pakistan army has tried to work with the U.S. to confront them from both sides, but that only escalated anti-American sentiment within the FETA. You can only get away with so many botched civilian strikes after all.
I thought that post-SOP, the U.S., pretty much pulled out of Afghanistan. You know, after all that anti-war economy stuff broke out.
They did. That put an end to the FETA strikes, but definitely not the anti-American groups. Now their anger's channeled towards the pro-U.S. central government instead.
Wouldn't this visit just enrage the FETA groups even more, though? I know President Salam's pretty much on the American side.
Yeah, but Salam doesn't care. He's got no interest in dealing with them. He wants to get the FETA back under control, and I guess he wants America's help doing it.
And how do his people feel about that?
It's pretty much 50-50. A lot of people hate the U.S., for sure. But a lot of others have been directly affected by the anti-government suicide bombings, too. There's definitely some deep-seated support for helping the U.S., but only if it means ending the violence once and for all.
Sounds like we could see civil war here any moment. What about their intelligence bureau, the ISI? How do they feel about all this?
They haven't commented, publicly.
People are always saying how much bad blood there is between the ISI and the civilian government.
Oh yeah, there are stories all the time about their involvement with insurgents or terror groups. Depending on how the ISI acts, things over there could change pretty damn quickly.
No wonder Armstrong chose this place. It's like one big powder keg. So the president's visit to Pakistan, it's meant to build government ties, right?
Right. You probably know this, but there's a region on their northwest border called FETA. Stands for...
Right.
Uh-huh. The U.S. started... The Pakistan...
I thought...
They... Now...
Wouldn't I... Know.
Yeah, he won't...
And how...
There's...
Some... What about...
They have...
People...
Oh, he depend...
No, what...
In Pakistan already, and so quickly. Ah, science never ceases to amaze me.
When it's for peaceful purposes, you mean?
Well, yes, of course. Of course. I must say, though, the engineer behind that RLV craft looked rather young to me.
Yeah. A gifted kid, you might say.
I would love a chance to meet her sometime.
Why? What would you say to her?
Oh, I don't know. It's always just such a stimulating experience. Speaking with scientists from fields other than mine, that is. It often leads to all sorts of new insights, new ideas to work with. And speaking of that, I've yet to meet Dr. Emmerich, too.
I doubt you two would get along, actually.
Oh, you think so?
Anyway, how are the brains doing?
Oh, just fine. Safe and sound in Mexico. Now I just have to get them loaded and en route to Germany. Of course, the real challenge will come after that, I suppose.
Yeah. We'll get there when we get there.
Indeed. Indeed. Do be careful in the meantime. In Pakistan already, and so quickly. Ah,
When it's...
Yeah.
What?
Oh, it ends... Oh.
Anyway.
Oh, now, of course.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Hey, Wolf. What did you and Sam talk about before we fought?
Nothing of note. He was not one to reveal himself to others.
All right. You don't have to tell me.
Raiden, I do not feel good about this. Do not allow yourself to be caught off guard.
Duly noted. Hey, Wolf. What did you and Sam talk about before we fought?
Nothing of note. He was not one to reveal himself to others.
All right. You don't have to tell me.
Raiden, I do not feel good about this. Do not allow yourself to be caught off guard.
Duly noted. Hey, Wolf, what did...
Nothing. He was not one to reveal...
All right.
Raiden, I do not allow yourself...
Duly noted.
How was the ride?
Hey, Sonny. Fine, thanks. Though I wouldn't call it the smoothest ride ever. You sure that thing's really airworthy?
Well, what do you expect? You're traveling at a few dozen times the speed of sound. I mean, she operates well within all the projected margins of safety, so yes. We'll have to work on the turbulence levels a bit before we can take tourists on it. But come on, you really can't complain.
So, it's meant mainly for cargo at the moment?
Mm-hmm. We got a contract with COTS, NASA's Commercial Orbital Transportation Services. Mostly handling space deliveries, that kind of thing. We also joined the C3PO, the Commercial Crew and Cargo Program Office's Passenger Transport Program.
So soon we'll have private spacecraft bringing crew to the International Space Station. Wild times we're living in.
Well, the space race has been over for decades now. It's no longer something countries engage in for vanity's sake. Still, lots of people are starting to see the industrial value of zero-gravity experiments. Plus, the costs are getting lower and lower with each passing year, to the point where we'll have a serious space tourism industry before long.
Yeah, I heard about the space hotel the Russians opened up. But we're still not going any further than orbit, right?
Well, one company's planning to have a lunar landing craft complete by 2020. Not ours, though. I'm just hoping we can get to Jupiter while Hal's still alive.
Jupiter, huh? Wow, that's pretty far.
Oh, hey! How did Earth look from up there?
I can't even put it into words. I know I was still under the Kármán line, but it looked exactly like every satellite photo of Earth I've ever seen. No borders, no nothing. Just a whole lot of blue. Hopefully next time around I can take my time and enjoy it.
Yeah.
But first things first, you know?
Yep. Well, good luck, Jack. Raiden.
You designed that thing too, Sonny?
Nobody designed her.
Nobody?
Yep. She pretty much evolved by herself.
I think I may be missing something here.
We used a genetic algorithm to make it. Ever hear of that? They use it to build the cars for bullet trains and stuff. Basically, we start by creating a few different models of aircraft. The data for each design is treated as the genes for a new aircraft. They all get crossbred with each other in virtual space. Eventually, you come up with offspring that exhibit genes from each original design.
Offspring?
You know, children. Each child then competes with the others for survival in the virtual space. The kids that have the best aerodynamic traits survive and pass on their genes, creating the next generation of aircraft. You get this sort of gene-based evolution across generations, like animals in real life.
I'm having a hard time imagining aircraft having kids like that. Anyway, what's with the two wings on the top and the bottom?
Oh yeah, the swept wings? They're set up so that the sonic booms they create wind up bashing against each other, cutting down on shockwaves. The idea has been hard to implement due to issues with elevation and wingtip treatment, but thanks to the genetic algorithm, the RLV worked out all the problems herself.
Herself, huh? Makes it sound like you're more breeder than designer. So what happened with the RLV after it dropped me off?
Running on autopilot, she'll circumnavigate the Earth and head back.
Wow, a trip around the world, huh?
That's the sort of distance you need to reach orbital velocity. She had to lower her altitude pretty drastically to drop the landing craft. So getting back up for her was a pretty rough trip.
Rough? How?
In terms of damage to the craft, I mean. Running in ramjet mode helps conserve fuel a lot, so she's good there, but yeah.
Sorry about that.
Oh, no. All in the name of peace, right? Besides, it made for a good load experiment. I'm kind of surprised it actually worked, actually.
What?
Oh, I'm just teasing. Don't be so serious.
So what kind of engine is this LACE thing?
It's short for Liquid Air Cycle Engine. A LACE uses liquid hydrogen to chill and liquefy the oxygen in the air. The reaction between the liquefied hydrogen and oxygen creates propulsion. On this RLV, the lace is combined with ramjets for maximum efficiency. Once the solid rocket boosters lift her off and bring her to Mach 3, she switches to ramjet propulsion mode. In the meantime, she's taking in and liquefying oxygen from the air. Once there's enough, the lace is ignited. If it wasn't for that hybrid engine, it would have been pretty rough for an RLV to pull that trick that it did. You know, lowering its elevation just long enough to drop a landing craft.
Well, I'm impressed. If it wasn't for you, I'd still be on your side of the world.
And I wouldn't even be here if not for you. Don't forget that, okay? A lot of people appreciate what you've done for them.
I'll try not to. So what kind of engine?
It's a lick on the once in the if it was.
Well,
don't.
I'll...
What's up? By the way, you mind if I ask, what's she like?
Who, Sonny? I don't know. Kind of a child prodigy, I guess.
You're the one who rescued her, right? From the Patriot lab?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of a long story, but in the end, yeah.
Then she was handed over to Dr. Emmerich.
Right. We had to hide her away at first, from the Patriots. It wasn't exactly fun. She couldn't even go outside for the most part.
That's terrible.
But in the meantime, Dr. Emmerich, taught her all about programming and computer engineering. It was her code that destroyed the Patriot AIs. After the dust settled, Dr. Emmerich adopted her, officially becoming her legal guardian.
But how'd she end up at Solus? What about school?
Oh, she went. For about a year, I think. She was way too far ahead of her peers, though. Probably could have qualified for her BS in computer engineering by that point.
Why not go through with it? Just get the degree.
We discussed it, but Sonny was more interested in Solus by then. Dr. Emmerich had contacts there, so...
So now she's designing launch vehicles and stuff, huh? Wish I had some of that talent.
Well, a lot of it might be the Patriots doing. Who knows what their experiments did to her brain?
And in the end, she used it to destroy them. The irony, huh? So there's one thing I still don't get. If World Marshal's making it look like Desperado hacked their cyborgs, wouldn't that damage their reputation? Maybe they can hide the fact that they're involved in terrorism that way, but wouldn't they still be liable for the fact that they, got hacked?
They probably would, yeah. But the only thing they're looking for here is a profit. Maybe they need to demonstrate neglect if they're gonna make any money off of this.
How so?
Well, Kevin dug up some intel. Half of the contractors stationed here didn't get their contracts renewed at the end of March. The US government rewrote their contract with Marshall earlier. Had to cut military spending after all, with the recession going on.
And so they'll say the contractors were spread too thin to prevent the hacking.
Exactly. And that'll only encourage the Army to boost their Marshall headcount. I can't say if the military's directly involved in this assassination attempt or not, but...
Well, what happened to the contractors they laid off?
Who knows? Hopefully they found work. But work like that isn't exactly easy to come by. Ever since the war economy died down, after the Patriots, life's been pretty much hand-to-mouth for a lot of contractors.
Huh. And you put it that way, I can almost understand what Sundowner was saying.
Yeah, but starting a war just to boost your profits? That's crazy, Courtney. If there's no work for contractors out there, it's time to find another industry to work in. Not that I have any right to say that, but...
Oh, come on, Raiden. Maybe you like to fight, sure, but you're not that... twisted.
Yeah, well, in any case, I better get to work. Riding out.
What's up? No? Did you need anything else?
No, guess not. Just wanted to hear the sound of your voice.
Oh, save it for your wife, Raiden.